Hello, Kripalu community. What's today? Today's Wednesday, and we are going to be going live with Robyn Youkilis as a part of our IG Live series. So I'm so excited to be here, and my name is Jessica Durivage. I am the director of Kripalu Online Learning, and I see folks coming in. So good to see everyone. I'm going to be bringing Robyn here whenever she arrives and requests to join. But we're going to be going live here with Robyn Youkilis and talking about her upcoming program at Kripalu this coming November. And I'm so excited to chat with this incredible mama, best-selling author, wellness expert. So looking for Robyn. Give me 1 second. In the meantime, if you're here, take a deep breath. Have you been to Kripalu? Have you been on campus? Have you taken a program online? There she is. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, it's so good to see you.
You too. I'm so happy to be here with you.
Oh my
I know
gosh,
we haven't met, but thank you for having me. And I don't know if you know, but I've been going to Kripalu, I don't know, at least 1 to 2 times a year for 14, 15 years, I want to say now. I'm turning 46 on Sunday, so I always feel like I need to say because people are like, "Oh, were you coming when you were a teenager?" Thank you, but no. But I am, yes, absolutely, also a double Libra for those who are already curious about my sign. So yeah, my birthday's on Sunday, and just a big time fan of Kripalu. And I presented there the year before the pandemic, and then I was scheduled to come back that summer, and then the pandemic happened. And so that didn't, my second time coming back didn't happen. And so I'm just so excited that the stars aligned. It just feels like just the absolute right time for me to come back with this message and this content and where I'm at in my life, this chapter in my life, and everything that I get to share with this incredible community. So
Thank you, Robyn. I have to admit that I've been girl crushing on you for the last 45 minutes or so getting ready for this IG live. I'm like, okay, mama, entrepreneur, wellness expert, best-selling author, and then I think the words practical really stand out to me as well. And so I'm really excited to introduce you here to our audience for folks that don't know you, and just to also create a space for folks to gather, take a break from whatever you're
mm,
doing, maybe take your phone outside, set it down, listen to our conversation, enjoy this fall moment with Robyn and Kripalu community. So Robyn, I would love to just know a little bit about your story and how you got to here, and this program that's coming up. This is who I am now, because I'm kind of curious about who you were before, and what is that journey been like to bring yourself to this threshold and offering this content at this time.
awesome. Well, thank you again for having me. So my journey began, I would say, as a child and into my teens. I had always struggled around food and body dysmorphia and disordered way of eating and thinking about food and how I tried to fit in and also stand out at the same time, and just all those confusing, years as a kid. And eventually, I went through so many diets and so many ways to try and fix myself. And that sort of, you know, hit ahead at the same time while I was living in Los Angeles, and I was in a new relationship. And my boyfriend at the time, now husband, father of my 2 children, he lived up from the farmers market in Santa Monica. And so, really, even though I grew up in a household where my mother cooked, I never had a connection to food and how it was grown and how it was made and the intention behind, taking something in your body. It was just to me this messaging fed to me from magazines that smaller was better and thinner was better, and just all these pressures, societal pressures put particularly on women, and how
Mm.
we're navigating our way out of that. And getting to go to the farmers markets and understanding this is an avocado. I know it sounds so simple, but if you'd never been connected to food in that way, and you'd always been eating in a way to just try and be as small as possible,
Mm.
there was just such a complete disconnect. And so I always, loved cooking, and my mom cooked a lot. And so I started to use those farmers market ingredients and really understood on a deeper level about nourishment and what that concept was. And I was G chatting at the time. So this is many years ago. So it's like 17 years ago at this point. I was G chatting with a friend at the time, and I was really lost in my career as well. And telling her about this farmer's market sandwich I'd made for myself and Scott at the time, and fresh sourdough and arugula and avocado and a farm egg, and how that I was on the path to. I didn't know, I wouldn't use this language at the time, but now I know it was like healing my relationship to food and
Mm.
how and nourishment and what that meant. And she said, I was like, I'm just diving into this. I'm so obsessed. And she's like, you should check out this nutrition school. And so I looked up the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, got the brochure in my hand. Like, this is how long ago this was. And I'm also a psychic and an intuitive. And just, I had this huge wave of everything in my body that said yes. And no money at the time, living in LA, figured out how to pay tuition, moved back to the Northeast where I'm from. I'm from New York and currently joining from Brooklyn, and started this journey. And if I'm totally honest, I thought going to nutrition school would be another way to fix me, like another, oh, this is the diet that's going to be it. And what I really learned is it just doesn't work like that. It's each of our own path and journey to loving ourselves and feeding ourselves on this emotional level, this spiritual level, and of course with food. And it really just flipped my whole world upside down. And eventually I started working with clients and building my coaching practice, Your Healthiest You. And my focus at the time was more on gut health and gut intuition because I really made that connection with my clients. Like, if I could clean up their gut first, because the gut is responsible for so many of the body's systems and processes, from our immunity to energy, mental health. And I made that connection. And then I realized when they were doing better, digestively speaking, so many other things in their life got better, and their intuition
Mm.
was coming so much more into clarity, and just all these light bulb aha moments going off for them. And so that was the focus of my first couple of books, focused around gut health and the connection to gut intuition. And I actually had my first book, and I tried to do the math, like, oh, I just don't want to have the book and the baby come at the same time. Meanwhile, nobody tells you you're technically like really pregnant for 10 months. Not really. It's like 0 to 1, and like 9 to 10. They say 9, but it's 9 to 10. And so my book came out, and then 2 weeks later, my daughter also arrived. So that was a time. And then a couple years later, I wrote my second book. And the books were wonderful, and I love my book babies. But eventually, as a mother and coming into my 40s, I had my first child at 36 and my second at 41, and really living in this era of my life where I'm taking care of my mom now,
Mm.
in much bigger ways, and I still have a 4-year-old. And just that squeeze, right? We've heard of the sandwich generation, just that squeeze. And now we're also working in social media and a million WhatsApp groups, and this beautiful vision of just put your phone down and it's if I've had moments where I put my phone down and I missed filling out a form that my daughter actually really needed for an event, that I was so angry with myself, because I work so hard to not miss big things. And so yeah, so my message in now, and this is who I am now, and coming into why it's this workshop and not a past workshop, is I really
Mm.
believe that we are in real time figuring out what it's like to mother a child, ourselves, our loved ones, our home, in just this completely new way while we navigate the whole world in our hand 24/7, and what just the reality of what this really looks like. And so that word practical has
Mm.
always stayed with me, because I just know that giving some overarching wellness suggestions don't necessarily cut it anymore. So it's more about, how can I meet you exactly where you're at in the chapter of life that you're in, whether you have a baby or you're an empty nester, or having a human child was not the path for you. Where are you at in this exact moment of your life that you can really fully own your joy, your laughter, your fun, your freedom? What does that even look like for you anymore in this moment? And I don't want it to be a for later, or when this one's in school, or when my mother is better, or whatever it is. It's like, in this chapter, the reality of where you're currently at. How can we make this wonderful for you? And how can we build that together in a very casual, workshopy type conversation? And so that's my path from where I sort of began in my wellness journey to what I'm most passionate about now. And yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yes, I mean, it it really hits a nerve. I'm 47, you know, it hits I have an 11-year-old and a 27-year-old. I just became a grandma
Wow. Oh
this
my God.
summer.
Congrats.
And thank you. And you know, it really hits a nerve around this, I think our generation as well, like growing up being sort of told we can have it all, but then it's just like, oh, like all is a lot, you
It's a lot,
know?
a
It's
little too much.
yeah, and what is that, like how do we hold that now as we're at this midlife threshold, you know? So, you know, I'm curious about some practices that really work for you that you've just found like things you'll be doing in your workshop or things you do for yourself daily to um, hmm, just help to soften the nervous system around the like constant stimulation.
Yeah, beautiful. Um, the first, well, a bunch of things came to me, but the first thing is being in a room with folks that are going through something similar. Exactly how you just said validates my feeling of like we were fed this narrative in a generation before of you can do it all, and we're living the reality where all got even bigger. And we are all in, like, we are the guinea pigs of it's actually not working. And we don't know how to navigate this. And we all feel overwhelmed and all feel overstimulated and we all feel like we're not doing enough. And so first off, just to be in the room, to be like, this feels hard. I see all of you. I don't necessarily have the answer, right? Everyone's life is different. And where I think it really helps, I mentioned the word chapter before, to really look at the chapter you're in instead of like, oh my God, is this what my life is like? I don't know that I signed up for this. I didn't know this would be so hard going from one child to two children to three children or adopting a puppy, for example. Like I didn't know. And so just being in the truth of we're building this together, what and connecting on that, like what do you do to feel better at the end of your day? What do you, you know, just being in community around that, because I don't think we're in community enough because we are that busy. We're mostly in I just handled and now I've flatline and decompress. So first, community. Second, I would say I'm it's funny, I just gave a keynote at a mortgage conference and I'm actually married to a mortgage broker, and part of why they hired me is I'm this wellness, you know, speaker. But I have the real life knowing of telling these workers to, you know, shut down their computer at 6 p.m. is literally not practical for them. If they have a fire that they have to put out 11 p.m. at night, they have to put it out.
Mm,
But can they start their day maybe not in a 20-minute, 10-minute, 5-minute meditation, but can they put their hand on their heart and take three intentional breaths? Can they understand what that's doing for their cortisol levels and their nervous system in their body? How simple and easeful can we make this? And so taking off some of the like the long list of wellness that we're also striving towards. I am too. I'm so guilty of this. But how simple can we make it? And again, sharing with that community, sharing with this community, if you're going to have water, caffeine, sorry, coffee or caffeine, have you had water first? Have you hydrated? Do you understand what that's doing on a cellular level? And then, really, what are some very practical wind down um, practices that we can work on together? And I'm personally like, I love working in all the mediums, like sharing stories, giving some practical tips, having them write out their own story. What are you telling yourself around this? And then I'm a coach. I'm been coaching my whole life. I used to coach rock climbing in high school. I used to teach skiing when I was 14 years old, you know, so it just flies out of me. You know, having folks that are there share, where's your bottleneck? Where's your roadblock? Is it emotional? Is it mental? Is it something that's literally in your world that we need to shake out right now so that you can have a more supportive plan for you in place for when you get home? And like I said, I really have so much Kripalu experience. I understand as an attendee, you know, I understand the landing and the getting there and the stepping into the space and the nervous system regulation that immediately happens. And then how you can, you know, take that and really play with the vision that you have for yourself for when you leave and you go back into your world and you got filled up, but really, what are those very clear few lanes that you're going to shift, that you're going to change, that you're going to know, um, that you feel empowered and you have the tools to make it different. And even if it's just the acceptance or the honoring again, like that of that chapter, that you'll feel like, okay, I'm not alone. I have a few things where I can really make this better. And then I'll know to get something like this on the calendar again where I can, fuel up.
Mm, let's just take 3 deep breaths right now.
Yes, my favorite practice. Okay,
Would
hand
you
on
guide
heart.
us through a couple
Yes,
deep
I would
breaths?
love to. Okay, so
Okay.
if you're safe and able to do this, please join us. If you're driving or somewhere you're not able to or doesn't speak to you, you just do it in your mind as well. But let's place one hand over heart, and then you can lay your other hand on top of that. And we're actually not going to go into any breathing or any editing. I just want you to feel a little pressure, place a little pressure against your chest, and feel your hand and how your hand has got you, and how you can lean into your own soft support, even in just this brief moment. That not only are you supporting those in your life, but right here, right now, you can feel that as well. And so, falling gently into those 3 slow, intentional breaths, we're breathing in, filling up our bellies, and breathing out. And deepen that exhale. Again, breathing in and softly letting that exhale go, and keep trailing it, trailing it, trailing it. Get out the gunk from the bottom. And one more gently like that in, making space for all your hearing and receiving, and letting that all go. Before you open your eyes, if they are closed, just staying but a brief moment in this shift, just noticing if anything changed. I personally just feel so much quieter in my head. And what a gift that is, to feel quiet and spaciousness in my mind. So just taking a little mental note of that for later. Thanking your body for this brief moment together. And you can slowly open your eyes and give a little heart rub. I like to close like this. Just a little thank you for this internal metronome that we have with us at all times. We forget, right? We think it's about all these things out here, and it's just literally right here for us in any moment.
It's so tender, Robyn. It's
Mm,
just, there's such a longing for us to just turn our attention, you know, back inwards. And it's always there. And it's always there with just this exercise that you just led us through can make such a difference.
totally.
Thank you. I was like,
You're welcome. Thank you for the invitation. I know. We need it. And then just that reminder of like, again and again, you forgot, you just take a pause. You forgot, you feel
yes,
yourself up here, you just take a pause. And being in the practice of the going back to that and remembering to go back to it. And then all of a sudden, like a month later, you're like, oh, I did a lot more 3 deep breaths. Like, go me. It could be that simple.
it really can be.
I know. It's crazy. It's crazy. And then there's some other things too, right? Like I talk a lot about
Totally.
finding your fun, and we will dive a little bit into gut health because I can't not, and just a little special sauce. For those of you who are new to me, I'm a big concert goer and I go to music festivals and we travel a ton. And so, I have all these little home things that I do for self-care, but I also I label it fun with a big F. So lots of big Fs out there, the things that take a little more work. Maybe it's once a year, maybe it's 2 years from now, and then balance with a lot of those little F small funds that are doable every day. So
Like, well, to your point of like, just connecting some dots of things you shared like way back on in your career when you started as a health coach, you're like gut health. Oh, just noticing like when that comes online, all these other pieces of our life start to fire and, become more alive. And even like this breath, this nervous regulation.
mm,
Like, so there's, like these, so it sounds like, just you're helping people connect these dots, starting very simple, which I just love the practicality of it all. I think that sometimes we make it a lot more complicated than it needs to be. and these building blocks really do make such a difference when we commit to them consistently over time.
Truly, truly. And for me, that's what has made the most significant difference in my life. It really is these little moments, these little comebacks, these little rememberings, these practices, the three deep breaths, a moment for journaling. And one way I teach journaling is like, if you've got littles, that might be really hard. Can you do it once a week? For sure. Now all of a sudden you're like, oh, I can do that. And every time we feel that, like, oh, I can do that, and I did it, we elevate, our energy and our mood, and that gives us so much more sustenance than I'm not doing that, I put down that practice, I know I should. You know what I mean? It's really just
Yeah.
finding this new way and less and simple, and like I said, just getting your booty in the room, because I love Kripalu. So my friend calls me Kripalu Barbie. Like, you can see me coming from a mile away. 'Cause I have my water bottle, I have my refillable tea, I've got my slip-ons, I've got my little socks that say meditate, got my neck shawl, and there's like 13 notebooks and books at all times. And um, it's just, I know it can be a challenge to get there. I know it can be a challenge to commit and to believe that, your world will line up to support you and whatever it is that you need to say goodbye to for, 2 days. But I just believe in the power of like just saying yes and committing to yourself and what you know you need. And, if I am your Sherpa or I usher you into the Kripalu world, like I would be honored and thrilled. And you'll see me on campus there. Like I'm like skipping. It's hilarious.
Well, the Kripalu world is pretty special. And, for folks that are just maybe tuning in and are like
Hello.
interested about this program, it's November 7th through the 9th. This is who I am now. And, Kripalu is this beautiful sacred place in the Berkshire Mountains. Um, we've been around for 50 years. We have been holding retreats and spaces for transformation and presenters, beautiful presenters like Robyn, coming and guiding folks back home to themselves. And it's just, and it's from the program to all of the classes that Kripalu offers to the land, the most majestic, magical, sacred land, to nourishing food, to
Food.
the
I'm sorry,
food,
the food.
the
It's
food.
like my kind of cooking, but someone did it for me, and I just get to walk into the
Exactly.
cafeteria, and I'm like, oh, I'm home. I'm like, if anything, forget the workshop. The workshop's great. Like, let them just feed you for the length of the weekend, and you will right there. Like, it's the food. It's the best.
It is. It is a really special place, and I'm so glad that you're coming again, Robyn. I'm so glad that you're back, and I can't wait to see you bouncing around the halls November 7th through the 9th.
I have zero
Um,
chill. I have zero chill, everyone. See, I'm not trying to be cool. I'm like, we're here. And of course, in like this gentle, quiet way, because there's yoga and healing going on in the hallways as well. But there's places for dancing and singing too.
well, is there anything else that you want to share about your workshop or how to get in touch with you?
Yeah, I'm super active on Instagram. I'm like an OG Instagram person. I always joke that when my first book came out, there were no stories. There were just feed posts. So think about how long I've been on here doing that. So if you have any personal questions about the program, more specifics, I know some people are details people, some people are just big picture, some people are more just a feeling. DM me. I'm happy to have a back and forth with you about it to support you showing up there. And like I said, I just really believe in just say yes and it will fall into place. And this is I would say like my newer passion, right? I've had such a long career in wellness that this is what I'm living and what I'm teaching in real time. And I think it's really cool and kind of special to create this next level of like, what is wellness for all of us together?
That is amazing. Great, great mic drop place to end. So
Thank
it was
you.
so nice to meet you.
And so you
And
too. I mean, look, the power of social media. This is
I
this is the good
know,
stuff, right? This is the good stuff when we
yeah.
actually get to be social with people. So cool.
Y'all come to Robyn's workshop, come to
Woo. This is
Kripalu,
who I
hang out
am
with us here
now.
on IG. We've got more IG lives this week. So we're just so, so, so grateful for our incredible community. Thank you, Robyn. And we will
Thank
see you in
you.
November.
See you soon. Bye, everyone.